Hey, Eagle fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to Philadelphia Eagles Now. It is a Wednesday, and even though it's the offseason, there's a bunch of interesting news and rumors on today's video, including the first mock draft I've seen for next year, which it's way too early for that, but it's kind of fun to jump into, so we'll do that in here in just 1 second. First, Chat Sports, all of our different channels covering different NFL teams. We're doing a like challenge this month, and so far, Philadelphia, not bad there. Eagles Now is third on the list, and there's a bunch of channels here at Chat Sports. What I don't understand is, how are we losing to the Dolphins right now? The Dolphins have 11,000 total likes on their channels so far this year. Niners have 8,900, and there we are, Philadelphia Eagles Now, at 8,500 likes. Well above the Seahawks and well above the Chiefs as well. Let's go ahead and beat the Niners and the Dolphins. Like this video. That's all you gotta do. Drop a like down below. Get as many likes as we can on all of our videos this month, especially this one. We'll update you guys in this challenge to see if we can beat both the Niners and the Dolphins. Let's jump in the latest Philadelphia Eagles news and rumors here on a Wednesday. You know, it's an interesting one to begin with, and it centers around Jalen Hurts because all news stories eventually end with Jalen Hurts, right? Because he, of course, is the big key factor in a successful Philadelphia Eagles season in 2022. However, there was an interesting tweet by Elliott Shore-Parks, one of the reporters at 94.1 WIP, we'll show you that in a second, talking about a contract extension for Jalen Hurts. Now, I'll start this by saying, there is no contract extension happening today. It's not like we're reporting, oh my goodness, there's breaking news. Jalen Hurts has a brand new contract extension. No, it's a look ahead to what potentially could happen if Hurts plays well, and the Eagles want to lock down his deal sooner rather than later in order to save a couple of bucks on what is now a very robust and very expensive quarterback market. So, Hurts is signed through 2023. That's when his rookie contract ends. There is no fifth-year option because he's a second-round draft pick, not a first-round draft pick. So, essentially meaning he'll be a free agent in 2024, 2 years from now, 2 seasons from now, which is still a very long way. However, there is some thought, and we'll talk about the tweet from Elliott Shore-Parks here in a second, saying that Hurts could get a massive extension at the end of this year if he plays well in order to lock him down for the long term, and again, save some money long term against the cap. So here was the ever-polarizing Elliott Shore-Parks in a tweet just the other day, which I found fascinating. Quote, the hashtag Eagles are likely going to give Jalen Hurts a massive contract next offseason, 35 to 40 million plus per year, and that will be a good thing for the franchise. You can see the nature of this tweet, trying to stir up some confrontation, stir up some conflict and controversy here by saying that will be a good thing for the franchise. But I'll be honest, I 100% agree with this tweet, and I'll explain more in a second. First, if you're worried about that number, 35 to 40 plus million dollars a year for Jalen Hurts, don't be. And again, this is all predicated on the fact he plays well this year. If he didn't play well, obviously they won't extend him with this much money. But if they do extend him, you're looking at, like this tweet says, 30 to 40 million dollars a year. Look at this, I'd say 5 different quarterbacks in that range. This is the 5th highest paid quarterback down to, I think, the 9th highest paid quarterback in the league, according to my research. Derek Carr, 40 and a half. Matthew Stafford, 40. You got Russell Wilson at 35. Kirk Cousins at 35, and Jared Goff at 33 and a half. Now, Goff, of course, is due to the fact that, the Rams made some big mistakes there extending him and, blah, blah, blah. But really, you're looking at that Kirk Cousins number of $35 million and saying, yeah, that's kind of where you got to put Jalen Hurts if he plays well this year. And we're talking about if he plays well. If he makes the playoffs, if he wins a playoff game, then for sure they will try to extend him in the offseason. And as I mentioned, it makes sense to pay Hurts earlier because the earlier you pay him, I think the more loyalty you gain from him as both a quarterback and a leader of this franchise. They took care of me. Now I'm going to give them everything I possibly can. Not that he's not doing that right now, but you see how that would work. If your company gave you an early bonus, you'd feel a lot more loyal to them in the long run. And 2, it is cheaper in the long run because the quarterback market's only going to continue to grow. Aaron Rodgers got $50 million a year in his latest contract, so what's going to make the difference between that being what you're going to get to Josh Allen, who's going to get $50 million a year? Lamar Jackson is going to get $45 million a year. If you can get Hurts signed at the end of this year, if you believe in him, and it's $35 million or $38 million a year, that's a steal. That's a deal right now because as we just saw, the quarterback market is very expensive, and the cheaper you can come in, the more you can spend on other key position groups that, of course, can help the quarterback win future playoff games and multiple Super Bowls. So this is something that needs to be on Eagle fans' radar. It's not something that's going to make a big difference right now during the offseason. It's not something that's going to happen, week 1 of the regular season in 2022 this year. But as the season progresses, if Philadelphia's 6-2, when Philadelphia gets to 7-3, when Philadelphia, is at 11-5, or whatever the actual record is, if Hurts is winning these games, this contract discussion is going to be a lot more prevalent, and I want to prep you guys for that, so you're not shocked when you see the sticker price of $35+ million a year for Jalen Hurts. I think it'd be worth it if he wins these games. Okay, add break and comment down below. Would you pay Hurts $40 million a year if he plays well this year? If you would, type P down below for pay. If you would not, type D down below for don't. Okay, speaking of things that it's way too early to talk about, let's look at a way too early ESPN 2023 mock draft. Now, we're not going to go crazy with mock drafts this offseason because this is what sports writers do during, June 29th, right, of the offseason. There's not much to talk about. Let's do an early mock draft. And so while we do a ton of mock draft stuff when we get closer to the draft, February, March, April, we don't get to a lot of them here, like I said, at the end of June. But it was the first mock draft I've seen from a legit organization, aka ESPN, and so I figured, why not? Let's just see who they have the Eagles taking in 2023, knowing it has no actual indication of who they actually might take. So, with the 16th overall draft pick via the New Orleans Saints, which is important, we talked about that on Monday, you want to root against the Saints this year, they take Myles Murphy, the pass rusher out of Clemson, who everyone is talking about is going to be the next great pass rusher in this draft, one of the top 5 pass rushers in 2023, and expect of a big year at the University of Clemson. Now, here was ESPN's take on Murphy. Throw it up on your screen. Quote, take a quick look at the Eagles' defensive end depth chart, and it's easy to see the position becoming the top need next offseason. Murphy anchored the Clemson defensive line in 2021 with 7 sacks while bouncing between edge and tackle, while Brian Breesy, I think is his name, returning from injury, 6'5", 275, Murphy could see more action at the end of the season. He had a chance to dominate with his quickness off the edge, end quote. Now, again, he's talking more about the age there of Brandon Graham and the potential long-term effectiveness of Derek Barnett as to why the edge could need some bolstering. I'm fine with that. It makes sense. Now, their second draft pick is 19 overall. I'll show you that here in just one second. First, the t-shirt combo remains on sale 40% off. Your 2-pack, get the green and the, I believe gray is the other color you see on your screen right now. Those vary, though, and so you got to click the link down below to go ahead and make sure you know which colors you want. Right now, 40% off. Chatsports.com/Eagles t-shirt. Link is below me in the description box as well. Click on that and pick up your Eagles gear right now because it's the off-season, and you want some fresh Eagle gear to wear during the regular season, right? I need to get some new Eagle gear. I'm wearing a Rafael Nadal t-shirt because Wimbledon's going on right now, but I need more Eagles gear. I might pick this one up. You guys should too. Chatsports.com/Eagles shirt. Okay, as I mentioned, 19 overall will be Philadelphia's own draft pick. This would indicate they make the playoffs, but they don't win in the first round. So just FYI in terms of where ESPN thinks the Eagles will be. Takes Cam Smith, the cornerback out of South Carolina, with the number 19 overall pick to bolster the cornerback group. And again, you think, okay, that's interesting. What do they have to say about this? And then you read the description, as we'll see. It makes some sense. Quote, a big 6'1" cornerback with elite ball skills. Smith had 11 pass breakups and 3 interceptions last season. He's also a willing and able tackler, 41 total tackles. Ricks and Ringo get the most hype, but Smith might be the most well-rounded cornerback in the nation. For the Eagles, it's an absolute premium capital to inject youth into, it is about putting premium capital to inject youth into their secondary, end quote. Now, again, these two picks, edge and cornerback, who cares what their names are? It's a position group that I care about. It does make sense when you break it down, but it's hard to tell what the needs will be in 2023. We can assume they won't need a wide receiver. We can assume they won't need a quarterback. We can assume they won't need offensive line, and then it won't need D-tackle. But other than that, we don't really know what else they might not need. I think safety could be a very big need in the draft. I'm not sure the top safeties are yet. We'll have to see how the season goes in 23. Make the case linebacker, although we hope not. We hope Dean and Davion Taylor and Kazir White, we hope that they're going to be the lead guys there. Running back might be a need depending on what Miles Sanders is able to do. So really you center in on, like this shows, pass rusher and cornerback. It's cornerback mainly because Darius Slay is getting older, and I don't expect him to have a huge drop-off this year, but are you going to re-sign James Bradbury? Is Slay going to still be the top cornerback? You can see how injecting some young talent in there makes some sense. And in terms of edge rusher, Howie Roseman always likes defensive linemen, and Brandon Graham potentially could be close to his last year, maybe a second to last year. You're not going to re-sign Derek Barnett. Hassan Reddick is only going to get older and older, even though I think he has 3 or 4 more good years left. So again, it makes sense adding these guys in terms of defensive end and cornerback. So hard to tell, but always fun to look at what they could possibly be doing with the draft. We won't do a lot of draft stuff right now. The draft people are kind of tired of the draft, but I want to inject this into the timeline just because it's interesting at the end of June. Okay, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Got a huge jump in subscriptions this week, up to 30,407. We're trying to go ahead and beat the Chiefs report all week long. Go down below and subscribe for plenty more coverage coming up. Mailbag video happening later on this week. Plenty more content, so make sure you hit that big red button. That way you can help the channel grow. If you guys like what we do here, that's all you gotta do. Hit the red button and also like the video. We can beat the Dolphins and Niners in our like challenge here at Chat Sports. Okay, quick story here. We mentioned this earlier in the week, but I want to bring it up again because there's some new info. Quez Watkins in his incredible offseason. Quez Watkins is getting a lot of love, and I like Quez Watkins. I think I'm a little more hesitant about his skills as some people are. I think that a lot of people are expecting him to be wide receiver, 1C to Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. I see him more of as a B wide receiver right now, more of as a number 3. But he apparently has been balling out so hard at Eagles offseason and during OTAs and stuff that ESPN's Eagle writer Tim McManus rated him the #1 player for the Eagles during the OTA stuff, like the best player on the field. Listen to this. This is good stuff. Quote, "The 30-year wideout made some splashes this spring, including a 40-plus yard touchdown catch during OTAs that prompted quarterback Jalen Hurts to break out and dance. The bulk of the buzz on Watkins, though, is coming from the coaching staff and management. They talk him up every chance they get, believing he has the tools to be a highly productive receiver. Finding targets for him could be the biggest issue with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert all needing the rock, but Watkins is going to be in the mix," end quote. So again, as you look at the wide receiver depth chart, Watkins apparently looks pretty good. And so maybe it doesn't impact, like I said, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith as much, but it pushes Reagor and pushes Pascal and pushes Ward and the rest of these younger wide receivers behind him further down the roster because Watkins is just playing that well. I'm fine with whoever is going to be your #3 wide receiver. I don't care if it's Jalen Reagor. I don't care if it's Quez Watkins or Pascal. I want the best player out there, but it's starting to really feel like, at least according to McManus and ESPN, that Watkins is kind of the leader in the clubhouse for that spot in Philadelphia. So potentially some big targets and big numbers for him in 2022. All right, we'll end on this. Over-under 500 yards for Watkins in 2022. What do you think? Over-under 500. It's a big number. And I know the receivers, 1,000 yards. 500 is a big number for Watkins. Over or under, type O down below for under, type U down below. O for over, U for under. Get my letters correct there. Okay, ultimately we're today on our Eagles news and rumors. Mailbag call coming up later on this weekend. So make sure you guys use the hashtag Eagles and be a subscriber to be a part of that. For producer Trace, I'm Thomas Mott signing off for the rest of your day.